That's excellent.
Mum would be very proud. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Hey, it'd be an excellent return on your investment.
Wow. John, this is a truly incredible collection that you've brought into here today. I see a reoccurring theme. Tell me about your collection.
I started collecting moon jewellery over 40 years ago. It branched out from enamels. I used to collect antique enamels, and then it was actually only a few years ago I discovered that I was actually delivered by a Dr. Moon when I was born.
Incredible. And that,
Yes.
was that, so you'd been collecting and then you found out after
Yes.
the fact?
Yes, yes.
Oh, how serendipitous. It's an incredible collection, focusing on the man in the moon concept or motif, which we see really rise to prominence in the late Victorian period going into the early Edwardian period. And often these pieces are made of carved moonstone, which has the beautiful sort of billowy light. It's a phenomenal gemstone, which means it has a very special optical characteristic. And that optical characteristic is a jewellerescence. And when we look at a piece and we hold it up to the light and we move it around, we see that sort of, that glow, that beautiful glow. And of course, that's very reminiscent of the moon. This, we can see in the gallery here, this beautiful open work in gold. A really beautiful example. I feel it would look quite lovely on me.
It's very lovely on you.
Maybe I could convince you to let me take it home. So let's talk about value. At retail, I think you'd be well in excess of $120,000, $150,000.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Wow.
Are you over the moon?
Totally. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it in to
Oh,
share with us all today. It is truly a remarkable collection.
Thank you very much. It was lovely to see my collection spread out because I don't get to do it very often. I'm going to keep them because I'm still buying them. It's a really interesting search and I'll keep doing it for as long as I can.
Amanda, can you tell me a little bit about this wonderful etching by Jessie Trail?
Yes, so it was inherited by me from my mother and from her mother before her. And Jessie Trail is a relative of ours, so I think Mum's second cousin. And Mum herself was an artist, so Jessie Trail was a bit of a mentor for Mum.
Jessie Trail is really known as one of the most important etchers of the interwar period and one of the best Australian printmakers of the 20s and 30s. But really, the etching that you have brought for us today is part of the series for which she was most renowned. It's the building of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, where she created 6 etchings and 2 aquatints, and this work was completed between 1927 and 1931. This places her within a period of a cohort of women artists who were really beginning to make their careers as professional artists in Australia. Many of these women had studied overseas and they brought this concept of modernism back to Australia. And like Jessie Trail, they were real trailblazers. I know, I love that her name has that association. So these are really, really important pieces.
Yeah.
And we can see from the little inscription underneath that each of them were printed in an edition of 30, and they don't come to auction very often at all. And I think many of these bridge etchings, because they're historically so important, they are held within museum collections. So based on similar etchings of a similar size, I would say an auction estimate, if there's competition, it could reach 8,000 to 10,000.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. I didn't realise that, so that's very exciting news. Mum would be very proud. Thank you.
So what we have here today, it really is amazing.
A unique family item has caught the eye of art advisor Elizabeth Hastings.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
I'd love to. Thank you, Elizabeth. Look, we affectionately call it the Bears. It's a bit hard to tell now, but it was designed to keep umbrellas, and I'm told it was the hat stand as well, but also kept guns at one time. It's from a family homestead up in Orange, which was once a big sheep farm with over 10,000 sheep, and this was very much at the centrepiece of the homestead that dated back to 1888. It's just always been a part of, I guess, my life. My kids now love having it in the house. And the bears were always, I guess, a personification of that house, especially at night when the fire was burning and in its eyes it caught the glints of the flame. It's almost like it's a living piece of art.
Well, I can imagine if you're a 5-year-old boy and you stood about the size of the bear, he could be quite terrifying at night if you caught the light in his eyes.
Very much so. My sons still look at it now and they're still quite... It's a respectful fear, you know. It's such a wonderful, well-cut piece that it's just, yeah.
Exactly. This is actually a wonderful piece of Black Forest furniture.
Okay.
These pieces actually originated in Switzerland, in a town named Brienz. And I would say it definitely dates to the mid to later 19th century, and it obviously came out to Australia at some point in that historic period. Can you think of perhaps any of your forebears who might have brought this piece to Australia?
I just have no idea.
No, but it's obviously been in your family for a number of generations.
For a long time.
The makers of Black Forest furniture, they generally worked in maple and walnut and linden. I think this piece is probably linden because of the lightness of the wood. In terms of value, there are a few little condition issues, but if you look around online, I've seen pieces just like this that are 40,000.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's fantastic.
So this is a very special piece. You're not thinking of selling?
I haven't got that far yet. I feel like it's a family heirloom. It's very much a part of me and the family. It's definitely food for thought. I mean, that's a lot of money. So we'll see. Just for so long, I've just wanted to know, you know, sort of where it was from, what it was about, and also how much it's worth. It's been difficult for me to keep it because I haven't had the room or the place like it once did. So $40,000 sort of gives you a bit more of a nudge thinking about selling it.
Liz and Sheldon, what a pleasure that you brought with you this extraordinary Picasso.
We hope.
We hope. Can you tell me a little bit about where you acquired this picture?
Well, we are actually on holidays in Maui in 2017, and we happened to notice a sign which said,
We sell dead rich people's stuff.
Oh!
it was the deceased estate of a doctor on Maui, and he bought up his entire estate. And this is one of the pieces from the estate. We end up paying $1,600 US dollars.
Okay, so we have a work on paper by the signature Picasso. Now, Picasso really needs no introduction. He was probably the most famous artist of the 20th century. Now, when you say the name Picasso, immediately dollar signs come into everybody's mind because his auction price is $17 million for a work on paper. So,
wow.
If this is an original Picasso, it really could be something very, very special. So I brought with me my trusty magnifying glass, and I can see that the pastel is sitting on top of the paper, and it's lovely and textured, and if it was a print, then the colour would reduce down into the little pixels of the printing colours. I'm not seeing any of that.
Wow.
So I can say that it is an original drawing on paper. And under the magnifying glass, the signature looks good.
I hope you're right.
There is the Picasso Authentication Board.
Yes.
And that is run by Picasso's heirs, and they do have the final say.
Our concern was that we were told if we did send it there and it wasn't genuine, they would destroy it.
We don't
So
want that
that's
to
why
happen.
we haven't pursued that avenue before.
And they don't give you a right of taking it back?
No, if they deem it not to be genuine, they will destroy it.
Well, I think it's worth following the path of authentication, because if we can absolutely attribute this to Picasso, then I think an auction estimate of 150 to 200,000 US dollars would be realistic for this work of art.
Wow.
So I think you could bank on 100 times.
It would be a good return on
What
our
you
investment.
originally paid. It'd be an excellent return on your investment. So I really do think that this is worth pursuing.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to bring it in.
It's been a pleasure.
We feel elated if that was the situation.
If
If.
we always felt, having seen some other items that he showed me when we purchased it, that it could well have come from an estate of a collector.
So, Richard, what have you got for me to see today?
It's a 1969 EB3 bass made by Gibson, and this was Gibson's answer to the battle between Gibson and Fender. And they're icons of design of the 20th century, music icons. Jack Bruce was the bassist and songwriter for Cream. Eric Clapton was also the guitarist in Cream. And Jack Bruce had the guitar for some years, befriended Andy Johns, who was a music producer for Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and they would get together and jam. And one night he gifted and left the bass with Andy Johns, and it was an auction in the United States in 2016. It was about 7,000 US, but it had been decapitated. In the letter of prominence at auction, the break was an important part of the story of this collaboration between these two people, that this is what happens when two demigods get together and smashed up guitars.
Wow, what a story. Incredible.
So as a luthier, I do a lot of work putting these back together, which is a musical instrument restorer. And I wanted to restore it, not necessarily masking the damage, but I didn't want to enhance it either.
So, very important guitar. It's great to have an original vintage 69 Gibson E3 here. Not only was it Jack Bruce of Cream's guitar, then it was Andy Johns. In the last 10 years, the market for vintage guitars really has gone up.
Okay.
We saw Christie's had the Mark Knopfler collection of guitars. They got millions of dollars for that. So I would say it would have increased in value slightly since you purchased it, plus the restoration. If this came up at auction today, I'd be saying you would expect it to fetch about $25,000 to $35,000.
Wow, goodness, yeah. Goodness. Thank you. I was very happy and surprised with the price. To hear such an instrument is so desirable and so important in the music world. I'll keep playing it. Other people will enjoy having a look and play too. For the while, it's with me.